Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to our third week. I cannot believe it's been 3 weeks already of the custom Lego Legend of Zelda set showcase, and I'm really enjoying producing these series for you guys. A lot of work goes into this. Drawing all the characters for these 12 sets took over 50 hours alone, so I'm really into it. I'm enjoying it. This series is something I care so much about because they are my predictions about what I think LEGO is going to produce in summer of 2021 when LEGO Legends of Zelda sets are probably about 70% likely. Anyway, let's see what we've achieved, what I've shown you in the past and what I'm going to be showing you today. Today we are looking at Z0006 with 309 pieces, and this is an exciting one because it is the Castletown People Pack. Okay, so this is set Z0006, and it contains 309 pieces, 12 figures, 4 buildings for an age rating of 10 plus, and this is my attempt to see what would LEGO do if they did a people pack, because there was a LEGO Ninjago people pack in 2020 January wave. I do not believe this is probably my least realistic pick out of sets, because I don't think that if anything they choose this as what they do, and I don't think they do a people pack in the first place, especially not with this many new even prints, I think. As usual, I'm playing Lego groups, so molds have been limited. A lot of these pieces are reuses, and I walk you through all of those when we get to figures today, and that's a lot of the build is figures. And figures make up about 70 of these pieces here, I think, roughly. So even without all those new molds, it's just too many prints for them to handle. There's only like one, maybe 2 duplicate figures in this set, and the rest are unique. So this is more of a wish list one on the side things, but let's take a closer look. So I've mentioned pretty much all of those, and this would cost about £35 to £40 depending on rarity. I'd like to think 35 because that's a people pack price. Anyway, let's read my slightly shorter description today. The bustling streets of Castletown contain lots of excitement for visitors of all ages. Visit the market stalls and purchase from a choice of foods, then stop by the item shop and stock up on bombs, arrows and potions. Rest by the iconic Castletown fountain, and then take part in the Star Circus games, launching minifigures at Targets for a price. With 12 minifigures to discover and 4 builds to create, why not visit Castletown today? So here is Castletown out of its box with 12 of its figures in. This is a slightly different orientation to the one I showed you earlier, but you can see that we've got 4 builds to take a look at. So here they all are lined up. We have a market stall, a fountain with a bit of a Triforce, an item shop, and the Star Circus. And this is based off Twilight Princess. Here's a quick look at our 12 figures. You can see a couple of recognizable faces, but I'll talk through those in a minute. Up first is our fountain. A couple of interesting points is this is a stepped fountain like you saw in the intro from Twilight Princess, and you can see that I replicated that as best as you can at this small scale. Going bigger was not really an option. You've got a bit of a fountain bowl up here where the water would be coming from, as well as my best attempt at the crest with Triforce in the middle at this small scale. Either way, and moving on, we have this market stall, which is one of my favourites just for the variety of food. We've got some ice cream pieces representing grapes, some carrots, apples, bananas, breads, and some pumpkins in 2 different sizes, as well as a seat here for the proprietor to sit on. The reason I did it like this is because obviously it's a market, so playability-wise, it's going to be buy your different foods, and having lots of different food elements is always fun. Got a bit of a different awning technique up here, nothing too fancy. Followed by the second store, and we've got a lot to talk about with this one. So this is based off the Malomar. Obviously this one's outside, not inside, but small scale, small wishes. We're using some boxes along, bit of gold along the front of this counter, along with some random artifacts, like this little pot here, some goblets, some glasses, and what looks to me like another potion that you can't purchase. As for the purchasable items, I've replicated his board behind his stop fairly faithfully. I even left a stop here for the magic armor, which is going to appear later in this series. Shouldn't have teased that. We got 6 items. We've got some arrows represented by this kind of crenellation piece. We've got a blue potion and a red potion, kind of based off Wind Waker, but they're kind of the same across all games. And then we got the 3 different bomb varieties. This is accurate to the Chudley/Mallow shop, and we've got the normal Twilight Princess bombs, which is the worst looking one, the water bombs, and my favourite, using this little spidery piece from Nexo Knights to recreate the bomb lane. I could probably do better on the colour, but I stuck to pieces that actually exist. And then finally, we have Star Circus tent. This is more of a facade build. This is based off Twilight Princess once again. And on the back, we have the target. So this represents the game where Link uses his claw shots to go through little kind of orbs of light. It's kind of a mini game, but I replicated it here using those trans sparkly pieces from the Dots bracelets. And you can rotate this... what's it called, a catapult almost, and then launch him at there. It's just a bit of random play feature, a bit of fun. Let's start looking at the figures, and we have the proprietor of the Star Circus, Perlo, here. I guarantee you none of you knew his name. It took me forever to find it. And he's kind of a human incarnation of Tingle. Yeah, Tingle's coming later. He's got some dual-molded arms with some nice printing, another reason why this set probably wouldn't happen. Some side foot printing to continue this weird like sock sandal design, as well as that little watch on his belt, which is probably a bit small. He's also reusing the peasant piece from Castle to represent his hood, as a new piece would be unrealistic. Next we have Shad, who perfectly fitted the Superman hair, and he is one of the Resistance members, which I decided would be the best place to put all 4 of them as sort of semi-fan favourites that would kind of increase the desire for random citizens, instead of like using just random people, as we'll see later on. So he's got some short sleeve dual molded arms, as well as his pink coat with his giant bow, large glasses, as well as these weird socks on his legs. Not to mention, I also decided to give him a skybook as an accessory, which you can see in this really blurry image, which was really hard to find. I love the book piece in Lego, so I thought it was the perfect inclusion for him, considering that's basically all his character does. Next up, we have Russell, and this is scary. He's probably one of my least favourite ones, even though he's really clever in the pieces he uses. We're using the Monkey Kid hair with the hairband recoloured to a light yellow with a white band, because I think it's the closest thing to his hair, especially with that little flick that goes over the top. The scariest face imaginable. Plain green arms with like a basic print and a bit of extra detail that I added, as well as his weird like tied up waist thing and some sandal prints. He's got the wooden training sword from the beginning of Twilight Princess. Then we've got the 3rd Resistance member, Aurel, who looks way too chibified for anyone's good. He's got some giant eyes, which is just a production error on my part. His beard, no hair, because he basically is bald. I suppose I could have used that new Minion piece, but at the time I made him, that piece wasn't out yet. And then some dual molded arms, as well as printing on his legs. I'm pretty pleased with his printing, actually, although it's a bit on the simple side. And then the final Resistance member, we have Ashai, whatever, with a longer Ninjago blade, some dual molded legs representing the gold that she wears. However, I decided instead of using the normal colour I used for gold, I used that as an accent and went with a light gold because it is seemingly a lot lighter. She's wearing that grey kind of top as well, and I decided to use Anna's hairpiece from the Lego Disney Series 2, and I printed her fringe onto her face with this annoyed expression, because that's the only expression I know that she has. Next up we have Mallow. There's not much to say about him, but I had to include him because he's the proprietor of the shop, and I wanted to. He's got some wrist printing, some midi legs with some fairly consistent printing across the top, another pretty scary facial expression, just like most of my Twilight Princess figures, and I decided to use the existing bow piece, and there is a new piece behind there which kind of like lets that attach above his head, but I didn't draw it because it's not visible and I didn't want to. So to fill out some of the more spots, I went on Google and I searched up Castletown citizens. And there was this guy in the back with a hat on, and I decided to recolour the wizard hat because I wanted to. So he's sitting down because he's the proprietor of the other store, because I decided so, and I vaguely made out some of his outfit and went for it there. So he's looking a bit stern, and someone tried to undercharge him. Fairly simple figure, but I was pretty pleased to recolour the wizard hat and get such an obscure character in. Same thing happened for a female citizen. I went around looking for whoever I could find and had to completely design her torso herself. This lady was in the back of a random shop, but I wanted to use the hat, so I did. She sat by the fountain, which is why she sat down, but I got an opportunity to make some nice leg printing. And finally, we have the Skyward Sword Link, which I showed you in the Fire Sanctuary flagship set. And as I mentioned in that video, I don't think they'd make a Twilight Princess Link and a Skyward Sword Link, at least in the first wave. So were you reusing this one here, even though it's slightly inaccurate, because come on, you know that's what they do. And next up, we have Agatha using a large oversized umbrella piece, which is the same one used in the roller coaster, just in a white colour with printing. She's using the butterfly wings from series 17 of minifigures, as well as the pigtail hair. It's a bit dubious whether those would actually work together because their pigtails may clash, but we're not going to worry about it. She's got her basket, as well as some printed midi legs, which I don't think we've seen yet, but I decided to because she really needed that skirt. I was going to give her the skirt piece, but she has enough pieces already, and I needed to slow down. Next up, we have Charlo, who's using a dress piece. He's that charity man who stands there asking for money and eventually rewards you with a heart piece. Gave him a cut to beg in, no hair, and the Gandalf beard. I like using the dress pieces, and I thought he was a worthy inclusion. I kept him with an unmodified head because I've got to keep that mold budget down for other more exciting figures later in the wave. You will see what I mean. And I believe, finally, we have the Castle Soldier, who is reusing the Rohirrim helmet piece, completely recoloured, and it'll probably be a new mould, with a spear and some of my favourite printing in the entire wave that I've done. He's just really detailed. I love this figure. Full height, nice simple face print. He probably looks the most like a Lego figure out of most of the ones I've done. And that is all I have to show you today in Z0006. Castletown People Pack. Let me know what you think of this set below and leave your predictions for next week, because then we will be covering Z0004